So now we're going to cover facial proportions. Before you do a drawing of a portrait, you want to have a general understanding of where the facial features go. So I'm going to get you to practice. I'm going to show you, and then I'm going to get you to practice drawing a person's face. And so one thing to keep in mind is that a regular person's face is oval, like this. Okay? Oval. And if you're drawing them from the front, you have to keep in mind where the center of the face is. You got to equally split each sides of the face. Like this distance from here to here has to be the same from here to here. Okay, that's proportion. The more equal all the features are, the more symmetrical everything is. Symmetry. Symmetry is key. The more symmetrical everything is, the more beautiful and perfect it is. I'm not sure of the spelling of that, so if I spelled that wrong, feel free to correct me. So anyway, so the eyes, okay, there's a center. The eyes will go just above the middle somewhere. Now you could do straight lines. I sometimes curve them. The reason I curve them is because I like to get it in my head that this is a rounded object. This is a head. It's rounded. It's not flat. Okay. Then the nose. So that's the eye line. The nose is somewhere just above the middle point from the chin to the eye line. Okay. And then the mouth is just above the middle point, maybe like that's 1/3 from the chin, between the nose and the chin. Okay, so those are essentially the proportions. Little things that come in handy are, for example, these lines will later be helpful to know where to place the ears, because the ears essentially go right between the eye line and the nose line. Okay. Other things, so let's say you put the eyes in like this. So other things is that the eyes are essentially one eye width apart. Okay. That's one eye width like this. And what's convenient is that little space is essentially where the nose goes in too. So that little eye width is essentially the width of a nose, but sometimes that can change with different ethnicities. So you can play around with that, but essentially this is where the features go in. Another thing that's helpful is almost from the center of the eyes, like once you were to put the iris, from the center of those eyes, almost from the center, maybe even from the side of them, that's where the mouth fits in. Okay? And I have a method later on how to draw the mouth. There's a little technique that I have. So those are the features basically. And make sure you leave enough space here from the edge of the face. This I feel looks fairly realistic right now. And now it's kind of androgynous, meaning you can't tell the sex. Now there's going to be differences. You're going to notice that in portraits of men, sometimes, often, there's more pronounced features. You have more square jaws, more pronounced, bigger chins and so forth. But with women, everything is more rounded, and the chins are sometimes more pointy, and the eyebrows will change too. Women will have thinner eyebrows. whereas men could have a bushy, closer to the eyebrows. Okay, so those are things that you're going to notice. Okay, so these are differences. Sometimes and now next after this we're going to get into features. Now another thing that I just wanted to mention real quick is let's say baby features. Let's put this over here. So let's say you're doing baby features or baby heads. What you're going to notice is babies, sometimes they have kind of a squared head, and their chins are very small. Their eyes can be very large, and their nose fairly small. So they have these big cheeks often. So all the proportions are the same with babies or children, but their features tend to be larger. Babies especially, they have this squared off look, especially because the cheeks are so boxy and square. Okay, so you're going to notice this feeling here. But essentially, that grid still applies from the realistic view. It takes some time for the features to really come into their own when somebody's an infant. Because the brain is essentially still fairly big, and then the face has to grow. And I think there's something about because the plates are still connecting, and because the head is so big, and for birth it has to be able to change, and so it can be born through that small space. And then, so therefore, it's got different shapes at the beginning. So the key thing is that the eyes tend to be bigger, the mouth's sometimes smaller, and sometimes you'll look at babies and they have hardly any chins whatsoever, and then they have big cheekbones. So the way I've done it here is more kind of sketchy, but the grid is still there. The key is going to be symmetry. Like I mentioned, symmetry is key. That's what makes things beautiful. If you look in modeling magazines, that's why those men and women are beautiful, because they have symmetrical features, and sometimes they have a serious look on their face because, because it keeps their face in line. And the more expressions you have, the more likely it is that you could have features that are askew. Okay? So what I'd like you to do is practice next using the same grid. So create this oval shape, but now what I want you to do is I want you to change the angles. So there's the center of the face, there's the eye line, the nose, the mouth, and the jaw, and now you could play around with it. So I want you to try different angles. Okay, you see what I mean? Different angles like this, up shot. You could do a down shot, and try to round them a bit. Can you see this? There we go. Try to round them a bit. And remember that features will get smaller in angles like this. If you follow these lines that I've outlined above, if you follow these lines, the center line, the eye line just above the middle, the nose line just above the middle from the eye line to the chin, and the mouth line about 1/3 down from the nose line to the chin, then those are the proportions that you want on most faces. So please practice drawing these different angles. Practice your grid like this, and get to know the general shape of a person.